Yes, sir. All right, I just wanted to make a little quick clip because just to lighten the mood up and whatnot and ask if MLK was alive today, what would he be saying? I know a lot of people hear that shit and they'll be like, he turning in his grave right now. He'll lose his hair. He'll lose his mind because I don't think anybody that could be alive in the 1960s could imagine that today in 2021 the the state of the so-called black culture, the community, whatever life out here in this corporate America would be looking like it does right now, bro. Unless you're one of those Black Greek Boule members, that's another story for another day. Speaking of Black Greek, Al Sharpton had an issue with this episode right here from the Boondocks. The Boondocks, you could call it prophetic, ahead of its time or whatnot. But people realize nonsense and all the shit that's really not worth it once they get older. So that means that the older generations pretty much failed us. They're not guiding us in the right way. They want to tell you to go get a good job, get a good education, but they're not teaching you about economics, aggregation, trying to build with each other, taking notes from other demographics that come into this country and are living better off than so-called blacks. It makes no sense. Talking about Asians, Indians, Cubans, what other demographic that has a convenience store in your neighborhood, those individuals. But people had issue with this episode right here in the Boondocks when MLK basically he came back alive from a coma 30 years later. And he was not happy with all the ratchetness, the ghetto bullshit and all he said. So let's see what he got to say. And it pretty could resonate with today's world and whatnot, with everybody being lost. Everybody wants to throw an MLK quote when they're race hustling, race baiting, or some bullshit like that. They don't talk about him any other time unless it has to do with race. Meanwhile, he's talking about content, a character, talking about building and shit like that. And for what it's worth, he also said that he's leading his people into a burning house. So we're just gonna let that sit right there.
Excuse me, brothers and sisters, please. If someone could just turn off.
King looked out on his people and saw they were in great need. So he did what all great leaders do. He told them the truth.
Will you ignorant niggas please shut the hell up?
He just said what I think he said.
Is this it? This is what I got all those ass whoopings for? I had a dream once. It was a dream that little black boys and little black girls would drink from the river of prosperity, freed from the thirst of oppression. But lo and behold, some 4 decades later, what have I found but a bunch of trifling, shiftless, good for nothing.
Yo, why they stopped it on homegirl face and he said syphilis? Yo, do they not know what's going on in today's world? I'm trying to tell you, man, we're all living in a script, man, but it's you to choose what scenes and what roles that you're trying to take in this lifetime, man. I promise you, a lot of people are cast-offs. Just let them be like that because you can't save everybody, man, period.
Niggas. And I know some of you don't want to hear me say that word. It's the ugliest word in the English language. But that's what I see now. Niggas. And you don't want to be a nigga. Because niggas are living contradictions. Niggas are full of unfulfilled ambitions. Niggas wax and wane. Niggas love to complain. Niggas love to hear themselves talk but hate to explain. Niggas love being another man's judge and jury. Niggas procrastinate until it's time to worry. Niggas love to be late. Niggas hate to hurry. Black entertainment television is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Usher, Michael Jackson is not a genre of music. And now I'd like to talk about soul playing. I've seen what's around the corner. I've seen what's over the horizon. And I promise you, you niggas have nothing to celebrate. And no, I won't get there with you. I'm going to Canada.
And yo, to be honest, yo, a lot of people complain about how bad it is, white privilege, white supremacy and whatnot, but they're still living here. They won't move to Canada. They won't pack their bags and move to Africa to find whatever country that they think they might be from, whatever country that they think their ancestors came from or got dragged from over to this hemisphere and whatnot to be a part of the slave trade and shit like that. Everybody just wants to sit here, bitch and moan and complain. Then they live a life of servitude. Nobody's out here trying to own anything. You get paid for your labor and then you take that. Meanwhile, the labor is out here for you to just live payday to payday to payday to payday. 1 fucking week away from filing for unemployment and welfare and all that shit. Why? Because you're living dependent on your so-called oppressor. It makes no sense at all. 60 years later and everybody's still crying about the same shit, bro. Still marching and protesting about the same shit. You're still getting bamboozled by the race hustlers that throw on these fancy suits and whatnot, then get on TV to talk about the same shit, bro. 2021, everybody got to recognize what the fuck's going on, what's new, what got to stop, what we have to work on. And a lot of it has to be stop bitching and moaning and start making some moves. Dudes did not march and get hoes, get their ass whooped and all that shit, get 29 arrests and all that to wake up in today's world and see bitches twerking. Dudes is having babies, leaving out of life. Nobody's getting married. We have more single mothers than single individuals. Brothers is becoming homosexuals, lesbians. All this wild money lifestyle that so-called blacks are living in today's world is not even funny. So to ask yourself, what would MLK be saying today? He will be like, why did I waste my time? Let me know what you think, man. I'ma holla. Peace.
Thank you, Dr. King.
Do what you can.